friend George Gilmer. He told me once, he said, Mike, when I wear jeans and I put on a sport coat, people start telling me, wow, you look so nice. So, George, this is for you today. I'm going to take out my cheat sheet, but I hopefully I don't have to use it. I didn't in round one. Okay, be honest with me. Raise your hand if you can name all 4 of your grandparents. Right. Good. Okay, now raise your hand if you can name all 8 of your great-grandparents. Yeah. So there's our legacy. Few generations. So it's very, very likely that in 2 or 3 generations, our family won't remember our name. So how do we make this positive, right? Well, maybe we need to start focusing on the impact that we have on the world today, the impact that we have on the people around us today, the moments. So my students learned a lesson on being present in the moment this year. It's a lesson that I learned from a man named Alton while I was standing on a piece of driftwood 23 miles off the coast of this great state of North Carolina. It's a ridiculously simple lesson too. It only consisted of 6 words. When you are here, be here. When you are here, be here. That's it. And when I felt that my students were sort of lost in the circus of school, we'd stop and we'd refocus and we'd recite call and response, this little mantra. I'd say, when you are here, and they say, be here. And it usually worked. So humor me and let's do this. All right? When you are here, be here. Excellent. Remember this for later. Well, winning this Teacher of the Year award has been overwhelming. There's so many deserving candidates. It's been unexpected. But trust me, I'm very thankful for being recognized. I'm thankful for the experiences that I had at NCAT when I was at Ocracoke on that island with Alton talking about moments. I'm thankful for my staff at Phillips. I'm thankful for the small group of teachers that needed fosters to make change, the disruptors. I'm thankful for my students and for my family. So this award is to share with many. It's not at all just about me. It's also a very daunting award as I'm watching you watch me. Well, I walked into the Teacher of the Year interview and I sat down at this table and there were like 10 to 12 humans sitting around the table, and Miss Atkins welcomed me nicely, and then she launched into the first 5 interview questions. But instead of answering the question, I asked a question. And it was something like, hey, before we do this, can I just find out who everybody is? And there was awkward silence. And then polite smiles. And then everybody introduced themselves, and I said thank you, and then I said I'm sorry, and then I did the interview, and then I was out. And there actually was a tornado warning in Chapel Hill that day. And I'm sure I had brought that storm into the room and destroyed any chance I had of this award. But obviously the point is I took a risk, a small risk, but I dared to be vulnerable. So think about when we take risks in our classrooms, when we try things that are new, when we step outside of our comfort box, when we do things that might fail in front of our students. I might fail in front of you today and mess this whole thing up, but that's okay. We are imperfect creatures. And Dr. Brene Brown talks about this when she says, the idea of perfect can seduce us, but it's not realistic. So what if we embrace this vulnerability and then we empower our students to do the same? Imagine the growth that could occur. But not all growth can be measured by tests. We know that. How do you measure Jade, who was a painfully shy and nearly mute 6th grader, and then in May was reciting in a poetry slam for the class? How do you measure Ali? Ali, who became passionate about women's rights, and when he presented on it, he'd slam the desk, his face would turn beet red. Or Jawad, who showed compassion for an autistic student having a serious breakdown in the hall, and he ushered him in to a classroom. And Jawad, in seminars, who started finding the courage to speak out against injustice. And he would ask questions such as, why do men feel like they need to act a certain way? Or Eli, who in 3/4 of a year went from being expelled at one school to propelled into excellence at our school. How do you measure those and make data? Well, I think if we celebrate the qualitative stuff, then that's going to make the quantitative stuff eventually happen. So I asked myself, what am I trying to achieve in my classroom this year? How can I bring my passions into my students' lives and get them thinking about learning? And I think it starts with daring to be vulnerable. And so I'm going to keep doing that right now. And I'm going to recite a spoken word poem that I wrote, and I've never done this before. So if you know anything about poetry slam, spoken word, you know that you can snap your fingers, you can stomp your feet, you can shout something out if you feel it. Or you can just be silent and stare at me. But either way, we'll have something to talk about later. All right, this is called What If. There's an old Mongolian saying that says, the man about to speak the truth should have one foot in the stirrup. So here it goes. What if when test day came, my proctor was a congressman? And they could pass out scrap paper. The way some seem to scrap the system. And the knowledge and the wisdom of every teacher who knows that each child would be better served scratching out a poem on that piece of scrap paper, or scribing a paragraph, maybe in cursive to make everyone content. On an issue of government, or economics, or culture, such as, why don't you listen to my teacher? Why don't you give them what they need? Or just come and see the art they make for Miss Green, the way they design the machine, or how their trumpets can sing. See, you can't make a bubble sheet for Miss Dahlman's strings, and you don't need extended time in Miss Hutchins' band because they're keeping time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Teacher now said, open your textbook so where you see the image of a pencil. Now I want you to take out a Sharpie because it stains. And I want you to color the whole thing. See, because my MSL stands for my, she loves learning. And I'm changing the EOG to empathy over greed. RTI can really tap imagination. And I'll use geometry. And I'll make a 5-fingered fistagon. And I'll pump it and pump it and pump it. It's so loud. And I have the whole crowd. And we rally around the family, those of us who work so hard. Because we are the movement. And we can't stop until they listen. So listen. Listen. What if I controlled the coalition of the richest division and I had them spill salary down like overflowing cups dripping, and then we integrated the mission of the politician with the statistician in the position of you and me, and every child that walks into that classroom for free, waiting for that pendulum to swing and bring them something? What if you were paid to be inspiring? And every moment that Derek came to me smiling and shining and saying, Mr. Harris, this makes sense to me, $1 would fold neatly. Covering legs that carry me into a room full of children, needing me, expecting me, growing with me. But see, that is free. So I'm sliding that $1 back out. See, we do we have it be to build a community, and that is where no test can reach. See, I pull little pieces of me and I throw them into the sea of young minds those mornings in August in the beginning. Well, in the beginning, it was just learning, capturing the sound and the form of that first word, the joy of bringing it from our throats, the sweet sound of success. What if we could capture that joy again? What if we graded the moments? That moment when Derek came running, smiling like sunshine, the book he found, or the email that Katie sent me with a PowerPoint presentation she made for free. Not for a grade, but she just wanted to learn more about Qin Shi Huangdi and ancient Chinese society. See, the PowerPoint's not at me, but the point is the power is something she can now see. Or Tyreek, who asked if he could write the firecracker for next day's class. See, that is our warm-up question, but he was already on fire. Inspired to be more than a tired 12-year-old in a 9th period desk. And the next day he watched his words all crooked and uphill on the whiteboard as the class entered the room. He watched as his question rolled through the minds of his peers and answers fell from their tongues. And Tyreek inhaled, an intoxicant of pride that he would ride until that final bell. What if there was a test to measure those moments? And if so, the data points would burst like bubbles in a soapy bath into the assault from tiny fingers, cleansing us all. Oh, give me all the merit pay that would come my way. And I will buy each of you a drink. And we toast, because you have those moments nearly every day. So please, be inspired by those moments. Be passionate about what you do. Dare to be vulnerable, and when you are here, be here. Cheers. Thank you.
Additional award for you.
Mr. Harris, these cookies just came from